What's going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to yet another episode of the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 6, titled Swear. We're inching towards the season mid-finale. Something big's going to happen. We caught up some long-lost characters we haven't seen in quite a while tonight. We're going to break it all down for you guys. We'll see you in just 1 second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Guys, I was stumbling in that intro right
You were
there.
so excited, though.
I was so excited.
It was the excitement.
Yeah, I definitely choked on some words there.
It's all good.
I didn't even catch it.
You forgive me?
Susanna, you're not paying enough attention if you didn't hear that one.
I'm thankful that you guys forgive me. Guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV's After Show for The Walking Dead. We're back. We're all full of turkey.
Yes,
we
are.
Full of all the things.
We're full of meat.
I had to put on my suit like it was a sock. I felt like when I came here tonight.
I'm not gonna make any jokes. I'm gonna be nice.
Yeah, I can't talk about it. Holidays are a rough time.
Yeah. It was definitely an uncomfortable experience getting dressed for the show. So we're back. Here we are. We're going to break down the episode for you guys. Season 7, Episode 6, titled Swear. We are getting closer to the mid-season finale.
Can I point out one thing before we get into the actual show?
Yeah.
For the episode called Swear, there was the fewest number of curse words of any episode of this entire season. I was literally doing ticks on it. It was only 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's true.
Every other episode, way more swearing.
Yeah, I'm wondering when they're just going to break the rules and just start dropping the F-bomb on the show.
I don't think they're going to cross that
It
yet.
could happen.
I think eventually it'll happen. I just have a feeling. Guys,
we need South Park to break it first.
My name is Ben Bateman. I'm your host. I have an excellent panel of co-hosts that are incredible. You can find me at Ben Bateman Media if you want to follow along with the conversation. Mr. John Carle.
The John Carle on Twitter and Instagram, and Whiskey and Waffles on YouTube.
I love that you always represent.
I wear my own shirt.
Awesome.
For sure.
Somebody's got to buy the damn things.
We got Susannah Kim.
Yes, so you guys can find me at Susannah_Kim, SUSANNAH_KIM.
And social media correspondent, dressed very fly tonight, Mr. Derrial.
Very
Christon.
flannel tonight. Derrial Christon. You can find me at Derrial Christon on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. DERRIALCHRSTON.
And Derrial, do you want to introduce our special guest?
Absolutely. My nephew is joining us tonight. Lexi's Represent Yourself. He's a Walking Dead fan, so be nice to him, fans, all right? This kid is 12 years old, and he's doing his thing. He's got the Negan bat with him right now.
You guys can continue being bad to
where's
me.
your Instagram? What's your Instagram?
It's Mr. Donuts 9.
Mr. Donuts 9?
Mr. Donuts 9? All right. Be nice to him. All right. He's got a Negan bat, so be nice to him.
You got Derrial Christon, our social media correspondent.
Yeah,
in the
so
chat.
whatever you say, I will follow you tonight and mention this on the show.
So guys, if you want to follow along with the conversation, you can follow each one of us on those Twitters. Also, AfterBuzz TV is on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. If you leave a comment for us on iTunes, it's very helpful. We provide free content. We like to provide that. We will continue to provide free content. If you can help us out with a rating or review, it helps us stay high in the standings. And of course, the last thing is that some of us read the comic books, this half of the table, namely. We talk about that usually at the very, very, very end of the episode. Throughout, if there's something that we do know, that we should know, we try to be kind of vague about it so we don't give anything away. We only spoil things for these two right here at the end of the episode because they have to listen. So if you guys want to listen to those spoilers, we will give a big spoiler alert right at the end. We'll talk about the comic books and things for 5 minutes. Otherwise, we're comic book spoiler free.
Although, to be fair, I don't think there's anything we can even relate to the comics, which makes it easier.
Yeah, this was a good one. So let's jump right into it. We open up with characters we have not seen in a long time. We have Corey Hawkins and Elena Masterson, Tara and Heath, who I guess... What was the last time we saw them? This is definitely the first time this season.
It was after the encounter at the outpost when they didn't realize it was an outpost. They thought it was a base, and they were going on to go on a scavenger run.
So it's been like 8 or 9 episodes now.
Oh yeah, it's been a good number of episodes, and time frame wise, the conversation that happens between Tara and Heath is about 2 weeks of real time, and then we have to assume a few other days have passed before she ends up making it back at the end of this. So maybe 3 full weeks of actual time has occurred to Tara at that point.
Well, I think they actually said 2 weeks.
Right. I'm saying by the time she actually ends up at the end of the episode, you're looking, because she was traveling for a while and walking, so it's got to be a solid 3 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through sort of each bit of this episode piece by piece, but I think what I want to start here with is instead of breaking it up like they do in the episode, let's just talk about Tara and Heath and their whole conversation and the evolution of their experience, their journey, their whole adventure, and get that out of the way. Because all the rest of it is kind of just Tara on her own adventure.
Yep.
So first and foremost, He's pretty broken down about the Outpost murders. He's like not loving it. He thinks like he has a couple lines. He's very like nihilistic point of view on the world. Kind of like doesn't seem to believe much in anything anymore. And she's like, it's not you, and he's like, oh, it's me. I was sort of listening to him, and all he said to me, I didn't think what he said was that crazy. I thought what he said was basically like, we all look out for ourselves. If people get in the way, they have to go down. And I think, you know, he's referring to like, you have to kill people you don't want to kill. You have to kill people sometimes you care about to survive.
Right. Yep.
But I don't think that's really necessarily true. I just think you kill people that are trying to kill you. That's what it seems like happens in the world. And that happens in the real world when there aren't zombies.
True.
People, you know? That's life.
Yeah, I think the way that Heath was saying it came across to me as you guys are proactively killing somebody because he saw it as an attack on that outpost. Granted, it was a defense-instigated attack. He was still seeing it as them being on the offensive rather than just defending themselves with people coming into Alexandria.
Well, because they just killed a bunch of sleeping people. That was a pretty shocking episode when it happened.
Right.
Yeah,
It was, but at the end
violent.
of the day, Heath left her. You know what I mean? Like, he left Tara.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of had a little bit of feelings about Heath after tonight because I was like, he left her.
Well, he sort of left her. I mean, he was also trying to survive. I mean, they were both covered.
I mean, they were, but I don't know. I felt like he could have done more, honestly.
Well, I mean, you see somebody get tossed off the bridge. You're getting attacked from however many angles. Like, he can't risk losing the car. He can't risk losing his only way back, too. Like, there is a point where how much is expected of him?
Sure.
I mean, I hear you.
Yeah, this is something that I noticed.
You guys are like, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm never going out scavenging with John.
I'm never going with John. John will not be my friend on the zombie apocalypse.
Have any of you guys watched the film Lone Survivor? Have you watched that movie?
No.
Okay, really good movie, Peter Berg movie. It's a war movie, true story. Long and short of it is that there's four soldiers that are under like a huge amount of fire, right? And the point is that as they're getting shot up and they're getting like just beaten to death, like the whole point is every time one of them will take like 3 bullets and he's up on the top of the hill and they'll say something like, we got to go up top and get Danny or whatever like that. And the attitude the whole time is like they're never going to leave, even if it seems like he's absolutely dead. He's been shot like 7 times
Yep.
and there's only 4 of them and they're all probably going to die. They got to go back. And that's the kind of attitude where you're just like watching, you're like, it seems so futile to act that way.
But that's super, super military, like instilled with you is it's leave no man behind.
Completely.
And if, I get that from something like Lone Survivor because it is a military-based scenario.
So I'm comparing the attitudes because obviously that when you're watching it, it's kind of a head scratcher. It's like you have to be able to survive on your own. I mean, if you feel like you're just going to die trying to save the dead body of the other person, not that I don't believe in it, it's just a different attitude. In this situation, it's like you said, Derrial, you had feelings on Heath because Heath essentially runs away when he thinks that's his only option. You see it happen in the show a lot.
Now, according to Lauren J., she said he didn't really leave. What he could have done
he got
is
back on top of that
jump
car.
in the water with her.
No.
I don't think that was the case, Lauren
No.
J.
I mean,
though.
but we don't know that he didn't go from there to go search for her. He might
True,
have gone down to
true.
the water. We don't know. So.
Also, I've seen enough people be dumb and jump off of bridges and stuff like that and end up like you tweak your leg or something because the
Yeah.
water's too deep. Like you don't know how badly that could go.
True.
Right.
Bridges are high.
But I do get your feelings though, because I feel like our core group has had that sort of mentality. No man left behind.
Yeah.
They've always gone back for whoever it is. You know? So
You
I
fight
get
to
where
the
you're
end.
from.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You fight to the end.
Do
I
it
would
with your
fight for you.
family.
But
Thank
Keith
you.
Keith isn't actually a part of the core though.
Yeah.
Keith is a part of Alexandria.
Heath, you mean?
Heath. Sorry, not Keith. Yeah, Heath. He's a part of Alexandria. And he hasn't gone through the majority of what these guys have gone through. So,
True.
not saying he made the right move or the wrong move, but I could see where his head was at when he made the decision that he did make.
Right, because his roots aren't as deep, maybe.
Yeah, he doesn't have a real connection to
I can see
Tara.
that.
Do we think that there's any possibility they're setting up a Heath death for mid-season because of his role now on 24? Corey Hawkins being the star of the new 24?
Oh. Didn't
Was unaware of that.
Yeah, he's the new Jack Bauer, esque character.
Really?
Yeah,
Him?
He's the lead. Yeah.
He is.
Really?
Roxy Stryer did an awesome interview with him actually at Comic-Con about it. He's like hilarious and super charming. Like he's like totally different than this character's like a very like kind of subdued character compared to him. He's like an action
Right.
star in the show.
Well, according to Zach Rarick, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I apologize. He said the only reason for this episode was to let you know where Rick and company will get their weapons to fight Negan in all-out war. Period.
Totally, completely. And I think that was
he feels like that was the setup.
definitely, and we will definitely get to that here in just a second. So after Tara falls off the bridge, when she eventually makes it back at the end of it, and she's looking for him, they give us the fake out. They give us the fake out with like the walker with similar hair. I feel like this is a move they've used like time. And
because we were like, wait, is that Heath? Like, wait.
Of course it wasn't gonna be. Did you really think there was any chance it was gonna be Heath?
No, but
I mean,
that was very good, like makeup for them to just like decoy us to that. Because I was like, oh wait, Heath? No, not Heath. Heath's mom. You know, whatever.
It would have been like a pretty anticlimactic death.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
And it seemed like that was a woman, right?
Yeah,
it was a woman.
Dress.
Yeah.
But most of the other I guess dead, they seem like all men, right? I was thinking, are those all the men from when the Saviors took out the
Oh, maybe.
Because did you notice most of the walkers seem like men? Did you notice that at all?
I didn't pay attention.
I think you're right.
Like a majority of them seemed like that. Yeah.
I think you're right, but she said they lined them all up and shot them all in the head,
True.
and they were all like covered in sand, and they were all were alive still. So.
Yeah, I think that the bridge was just a location where a group of people were holding up. Something went wrong. They buried him in sand, and then they got out of there. But yeah, the fact that they lined him up and shot him in the head, I don't think that could be the people from this camp.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so at the end of it, she makes it back, and she makes it through, and she's looking for Heath. She finds his broken glasses.
Yeah.
Here was a quick thought I had. Should she have picked up the glasses, like at least one eye, if you have like specific prescription glasses that you need to see, would be better than none? Or is that like you would get such a headache wearing, even blacking out one eye? Or is like I've never had glasses.
I don't wear glasses.
Is it possible that they'll be able to like?
Actually, just got LASIK done, so I don't need glasses
I've
anymore,
worn glasses and
but-
contacts. I mean, you can't necessarily wear someone else's glasses. Though.
You can't.
Yeah.
Even if they're a similar prescription.
I mean, if they're similar, but how the likelihood of someone having the same prescription as you, like, you know, it's
pretty specific.
It's pretty specific.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I figured. Okay. So then she's like, maybe it's you, right? There's like tire tracks, so we think that he drove off. So we think he's okay, and she finds like a sunglasses hut essentially.
Yep.
Yeah. And also she found that little, what was it? You said it was like a key fob or something, a gate key with the PPP.
Oh yeah,
What was
yeah.
that?
So the little PPP thing that she had.
What was that?
That's a security key. 'Cause
Wasn't that from the outpost? Oh no.
Oh, is that what that? I don't know. I wasn't sure.
a
what
lot
that
of
was.
people on Twitter were saying, "What's the PPP for?"
Yeah.
And I don't remember that from the outpost. It's possible.
Okay.
Seems significant,
Yeah.
but I don't know what.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Could you let us know in the chat what's the PPP? I'm gonna type this out to you guys.
I don't think a lot of people, like, according to most of the articles I popped up in between, not a lot of people know what the PPP is.
Sounds like we'll find out later.
But it's literally the security
We may
key
find out soon,
to get
so
into
we'll see.
my building. So it's
Yeah.
like I knew that exact same card.
It's
so.
the setup.
Yeah.
It's finding a key for a later door in Ocarina
Exactly.
of Time, essentially. All right, so anyway, she goes after she gets back to Alexandria. Tara does with her new bright sunglasses. She sees Eugene
And the
she finds
bobblehead.
him. And the bobblehead. And we realize that they had no idea about any of the craziness that's happened. Not even the Negan craziness.
Nope.
But even going all the way back to Denise getting taken out with Dwight's crossbow.
Yeah.
All the way back in like episode 9 of last season or whatever that was.
Yeah, I don't remember what the episode number was, but yeah, like the outpost was the last time, and then all the stuff with the revenge and everything like that all happened after she's been gone. The first time it really kicked in for me was when she was sitting there talking at the table, being like, "Oh, well, yeah, there was this girl that I want to get back to," and I'm like, "Oh crap, she doesn't remember yet."
She died a long time. Well, but in actuality, like a long time ago, like not really that long ago.
Yeah, like we're saying, it's only like
Few weeks.
2.5 weeks. 2 weeks at most, really.
The chronology of this definitely is getting a little confusing with the off season and how much time has passed and the way they've now set this up. So before we jump from this into all of the goings on with this episode, I want to just take a quick sort of pause with the show because I feel like so far with this season, I kind of don't know what show I'm watching anymore.
What do you mean?
Well, I want to know what you guys think because I feel like I know things are happening. I don't think there's like less happening necessarily than have happened in previous seasons. I don't even think the storytelling's all that different. It's just because the action has been this certain way for so long, and we've been so familiar with sort of like the pace of the show, and everything we're watching these like 5 episodes is all like a very, very, very small amount of time. They're setting up for something, or it's getting tired, or I don't really know what's going on.
So I got some thoughts on this, and actually, as a comic book reader, I'm surprised you don't come to the same spot that I do. This feels like the relaunch of a line right after a big event. So look at like when Marvel has done the Civil War or like House of M, where it's like there are no more mutants, and this is your new status quo.
Right.
Because we don't get 5 or 6 simultaneous books coming out over the course of a week, we're seeing what all these new status quos are in separate episodes. So for
Right.
me, this is kind of the, we've had 7 seasons or 6 full seasons leading up to this. This is kind of the walkers aren't the issue. This is what the world is like right now. And
Right.
these are what the people are doing in there.
Yeah.
So it feels like this was the reset point, not in we're restarting what we're doing, but we're just showing you how different it is now compared to when Rick woke up in the hospital, and all the main issue of that entire thing for the first season was just the walkers.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think this is a throwaway episode because we're coming off Thanksgiving? And,
No.
is it a throwaway?
I don't think they do throwaways.
I think in some ways, yes. I think what that person said was very accurate, which is that this is a setup for where they're going to get their weapons to fight Negan later.
Right.
So that's definitely true. But another thing I was noticing, okay, so we'll unless, Susannah, do you want to throw in on this before
No,
we...
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I definitely agree that it seems like each episode we're just kind of concentrating on different worlds in a way, and I'm waiting for those all to collide, for Hilltop to meet, the
Yeah.
Saviors
Yep.
to meet whoever, yeah.
So that... Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Lauren D says that PPP was that on Talking Dead tonight. They said the only people who know what PPP is are the writers. So
Got it.
there's still a big question mark.
Okay, so we didn't
PPP.
miss anything.
Yeah, we didn't miss
Got it.
anything.
Find
We were
out.
just making sure because you guys get mad at
know.
us. So we just want to
No,
know.
the internet is never, ever mad at anything.
And no, G Caspi 3 is not Puff Up Pass, by the way. No, it's not Puff Up Pass. I'm just saying that.
I think you have a strong point, John, that they are resetting as they're showing us each little world, and they're trying to sort of link them together, and they are setting up for the second half of the season, which is obviously going to be, I think, when all of those worlds start to connect.
Yep.
Yeah.
But all that being said, things like, okay, Tara shows up, and when she first shows up, right, after Cindy and Rachel find her on the beach, and she's getting interrogated, and she's like kind of funny and a little sarcastic, and she's saying these things that feel like intentional comedy. They're supposed to make you laugh a little bit. I was like, interesting. Are you guys trying to write this character in a different way, or like give us some humor, or am I just so unfamiliar with this character because it's been so long since she's had any screen time? I forgot how she even was. I was totally confused by it. And
See, I don't think it was humor in that. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I thought it was trying to be humorous.
Really?
Yeah, I think they tried to make her sort of quirky.
Yeah.
Gave her a little bit of, maybe sarcasm, was it? Or
Yeah.
dryness a little bit.
got
And
that.
like the way they cut things and edit to commercials on certain lines. Yeah, they're definitely making her
Yeah.
a certain character. But I've never noticed it before.
Yeah, it was definitely a lighter episode. But yeah, there was something about the way she was written in this one that did feel different than previous seasons. I will agree on that one.
so in that sense, you have to ask yourself the question: is that a good thing, or does it make it a throwaway episode? Are they developing her to be a much more relevant character going forward? I mean, something to think about. Is
Are
the
they
fact-
setting her up to get whacked?
Well, I would have a hard time believing that the writers, after everything that's happened in the last year with LGBTQ characters on television getting killed in completely unnecessary ways, and they killed one of the only other LGBTQ characters on this show
True.
in a role that belonged to a man originally, a straight man in the source material, like as we've talked about.
But then they did beat the straight man's death with a baseball bat.
Agreed. I just mean I think it would be a pretty rough one for the audience for them to just be like, let's just kill the other gay character. But in any case, moving on from that idea.
J Caspi 3 said Tara was scared. She wasn't trying to be funny. And they also said, I don't think it was meant for humor for us to laugh. And I agree. I'm with you on that.
It made you feel uncomfortable because they weren't good jokes.
Right, it was like an awkward humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was another one of those things where it's just like, I feel like she would have just been dead. That's the other thing. Is I was like, why are you guys all, how is she getting away with this? If you shoot people on sight, you're all shooting at her, and like somebody stands close to her, the little girl, Rachel, doesn't just kill her. I don't know. That I was so
Also,
Tasha
Rachel-
Tash agrees with you, Ben.
yeah.
So
What?
Tasha Tash agrees with you.
Which part?
She said, "Me too, Ben. I was like, this is how Tara normally is?" ? So
Yeah, I think we haven't seen her with very much screen time for like several seasons.
Yeah.
So that's probably why this felt out of place. But let's start with Cindy and Rachel finding her on the beach.
Yeah, can we start with the fact that Rachel is a little sociopath?
Totally.
I love her.
I like
I
little crazy
love
kids.
her.
I like kids that
Yeah.
are crazy.
No, I'm worried that all kids are like that. That's my problem.
I mean, in this new world, what can you really expect, right?
Right.
You got
They're
Carl.
all like, yeah.
You
I mean,
got
I-
Lizzie when we had Lizzie. Remember
I
that
guess
little crazy
I'd
girl?
rather have a sociopath than an emo kid like Carl.
I mean, they're very much introducing she said it over and over again, we're supposed to. So they're introducing the idea that the younger characters in this world, with the way things are now, are being raised in this incredibly like militaristic / like kind of sociopaths.
New normal.
They're instructed kill strangers on sight.
How can they
because of
not
the-
be though?
Yeah, because of the way things
I
are.
mean-
I mean, it's creating a whole entire like generation of crazy people.
Yeah.
And it's only been 2 years, and they're already that nuts.
Yeah, because you have to think that girl. How old do you think Rachel was? 10, 11 years old?
I don't know.
They're all the same little
11.
evil demons to me.
I would say like 11.
Wait, I have a
11,
great. I'm
12.
sorry, I have a great. I have to throw this in. Mr. Donut 6, I think it's my nephew who's in here, says I think the PPP stands for the boot camp / summer camp because it was found in Cindy's fish bag.
Huh. The boot
Okay.
camp, summer camp. Which one are we talking about?
Where the people are all.
Oh,
all
got
the
it,
women
got
are
it.
same.
Oh, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. 'Cause if any of you have already watched Talking
will.
Dead,
Talking Dead, yeah.
but I saw like just the first minute of Talking Dead, and I thought Hardwick said we found a place called Oceanside. So unless I'm misremembering that, I thought he called it Oceanside. So I think that's what that like.
They may have on Talking Dead, but in the show,
Yeah.
we were all keeping an ear out for it, and we didn't hear it in
Yeah,
the
it
show.
was
Yeah.
a little like encampment. So yeah, Rachel's nuts.
Yep.
Tara wakes up. Was she faking asleep? Because she wakes up and she's pretty aware right away.
She was definitely faking the sleep after she got dragged. I
Right.
think she was still like legitimately unconscious when she was in the water like that. But knowing that, she probably got woken up by being dragged across the beach really
Definitely.
uncomfortably. So yeah, that I don't think she was faking it until after the movement started.
Yeah, so Cindy leaves her a spear, a salted fish,
2 bottles of water.
2 bottles of water. And she tracks her way back into this little village to Oceanside or Seaside or something, whatever it's called.
Summer camp.
Yep, summer camp, exactly. And gets shot at, sees that there's a lot of guns, and then ends up in this conversation after she whacks Beatrice with her gun but doesn't kill Beatrice. That's the classic if you're like it happens in action movies all the time when you're like the wrongfully accused hero
Right,
who's like
yeah,
framed for
it's true.
something. You always get the opportunity to kill somebody and you
right.
don't, and then that person ends up being your ally when they
Yeah.
tell people that you didn't kill them. It literally happens in every single movie like that. So she pulls that move. She doesn't kill Beatrice, and Beatrice is like, she's okay because she could have killed me and she didn't. So she's got to be okay.
Yeah.
And then she ends up in this conversation with Natanya and tells some sweet, sweet lies about working on a fishing boat.
Sweet
Yeah,
lies.
not very well though.
It's a pretty bad lie to make up. I mean, like, you have to, right?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you're going to lie about anything, you have to know what you're lying about.
Right.
Because if you're in this area that's surrounded by water, somebody in that room is bound to know something about fishing and boats and stuff
true.
like that. And like she's like listing off, is it this or a larder? And I turned to Derrial and I was like, that's the name of a restaurant on La Cienega.
He did say that.
So
He
it's
did
like
say that.
that's related to
Yeah.
like meat and stuff like that. And she's like,
did.
yeah, a larder. And I'm like,
Yeah.
even I know
storage
you're-
locker.
Steak
No, he
house,
did say
right?
that. Yeah.
burgers, all burgers.
Yeah.
And she even says, like, yep, you got it. That's the one. Like,
Right.
what could you have done for a living in the world before this all went wrong that you couldn't have, like, and
Been a
if,
better liar.
if seasons ago in a conversation, Tara says what she did for a living, if I'm forgetting what it is and somebody remembers from several years ago, let me know. We probably do know. I think it's legitimately been years since that conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
yeah.
whatever
Let
she
us
did,
know in the chat, by the way.
whatever she did could not have been like, why couldn't she have used a variation on something she knew? That seemed like a
Yeah.
horrible decision.
Yeah.
Don't you
Literally-
ever think about that? If you could
Literally,
capture
all
what
she
we
had to
say.
do is leave out the fact that she has a group. Like, she could have said legitimately what she did in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Like, she didn't have to lie about that. It was like that was a stupid lie.
totally.
Yeah,
Terrible lie.
I hate Tara now.
Yeah. So she like barters with Natanya. So this is something interesting I thought of too, and this goes back again to Tara being one of the openly gay characters on the show. Is if not, I think the only one actually that's on the show right now. Unless I'm forgetting someone. I think it was just her and Denise.
No,
no, Aaron and
Aaron and his
yeah.
boyfriend. Yeah.
Well, real quick, Tim Reno72 said, did anyone bring up the markings on Tara's arm, and what the hell does that mean?
right.
All the numbers, yeah.
their numbers. It's 26, 13, 22, 9, and then we couldn't see the other one, but there was definitely a start of one more.
Did anybody get a sense of what that was? I was trying to do the math on it a little bit.
Yeah, John did great math on it, but I don't know if you fully
I don't have
understand.
it
And
yet.
by math, I mean writing them down.
Yes, I wrote them down, and I know what Roman numerals are.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got that much.
Don't have the meaning of them yet.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. But what's up?
Oh, I added them, but I don't know.
Oh, well, keep your earphones on, though.
You were saying you added them and they didn't come up with anything relevant. Yeah.
Yeah, I just came up with 71. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we see this. She starts like bargaining with Natanya. But one thing I was thinking of is that it's interesting that you put the remaining lesbian character on the show in a town of all women. I was like, and it's not a town of all women like it's like Wonder Woman, like the island where she's from. It's like
Themyscira.
Yeah.
Well,
I knew that.
the chat has been talking about, is this a lesbian camp? I'm like,
No,
I
they just
think
lost all the men.
They lost all the men.
No.
Yeah.
But they definitely, I sort of did get this like ambiguous vibe they were trying to sort of give us until we found that out.
Right.
Until they explained themselves, I was like, interesting that this is the character that finds the all-women camp. What are you doing here, guys? So in any case, but she ends up with this deal with Natanya, where Natanya's like, we kill everyone, we want no help. And so when she first says we went to this outpost and we killed everyone, you guys all picked up on the fact, right, that like when they were like, we got into a skirmish, that it had to be the Saviors, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think they even said
later
that at one point. Yeah,
Well, later they did,
Later,
but yeah, but nobody else has been getting into skirmishes, and then proving an example the way that the Saviors do. Like that was their example, was just killing all the men.
Right.
Because but it actually seemed kind of weird that they went through, killed all. Okay, I'm actually working this through in my head in real time right now. So here's a theory. This all happened obviously before all the stuff with the outposts and Rick and everything like that. And they went and they killed all the men. And when they went and they killed all the men, then all these women ran. And when all these women ran, they lost probably some of the Saviors when they were doing their own thing. And now they changed what they're doing when it comes to setting an example, because if they set an example as extreme as killing all the men, they lose all their workers.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's such an extreme example too. That's like straight like Holocaust stuff, like where you're like just lining people up. I mean, that's horrible. That's to the point where you're like, you have to think if you were doing that to every community you met, then there would be some sort of mutiny inside your community. Because that's so, I mean, beating one person to death is very brutal, obviously, but it's a little different than taking out 20, 30, 50 people just point blank, right? That's like...
XX Dream Lover RRXX, great name, by the way. They said, I think the men were recruited rather than killed.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's true, though.
I don't know. Saying that you saw them get shot all in the head and seeing
I'm
the
thinking
kid.
that they were killed. I like where you're going, but I think they were killed, personally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
No.
So...
But I mean, in that, I mean, thinking that way, it's kind of seems like maybe our team with Rick got it off easy, maybe.
Yeah.
In a way, right? Because we just lost 2 of them. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after this deal, and they've realized that Tara is lying and like not making any sense, they expose her, and Tara then is like, well, I need to go back and find my spot, you know, I want to go back to my people.
Yep.
So on and so forth. And they're like, well, if you take these people with you, you can do it. So were you guys sure the whole time that Tara was going to take off? I kind of thought she was maybe going to try to make it work, but...
I didn't think she was going to actively try to take off. I thought she was going to have the gun just pulled on her, and then she was going to react to it. I didn't know she was going to see an opening and go for it. But I knew something was going to happen on there. There was no way that was just going to be a clean, let's all walk out together and everything's hunky-dory kind of situation.
Well, I can't quite decide how I feel about like Oceanside or about this camp, because on the one hand, it's crazy that you shoot strangers on sight. That's not good.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if that's like behavior that you feel like comes out of fear, that maybe you could, because I feel like they're going to have to partner with them eventually. That definitely, I mean, just as the person in the chat said, don't you guys feel like they're going to have to go and like work together? That's gonna
I didn't get that off of it.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I don't know if I got that, actually.
It logically it can make sense, but I don't know if Tara will do it, because I think that if she brought people back, the women that are there would start a war with Rick's people too.
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
I'm not so much thinking that maybe Tara would bring people, but it'd be interesting to see that, you know, maybe Oceanside gets into a situation and they end up reaching out for help, because like they said, they have no men. You know, they're trying to protect themselves, but they couldn't even get Tara with all the guns they had, and you know, they couldn't even catch her. So really, I mean, it'd be interesting to see them reach out to Rick or Hilltop or wherever for help, and you know, invite people in this way. Because I mean, reasonably, how is it going to keep going that you guys are going to have no men? You're just going to eventually die out, right?
Right.
You can't keep.
But do you think,
continuing
okay, so
that
on
way.
the flip side of that, do you think they would accept Rick's group with bringing in men?
If they're held up to the Saviors, yeah, I think they would accept whatever help they can get, right?
So it's more based off of fear.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I think
but the
that's why they're
Saviors
making
don't know that
decisions
they're
they
there
are.
right now, though.
Not
True.
yet. But I mean, if Tara stumbled upon them, how long is it really going to take?
Right.
Well, that's
I
true.
mean, so they're definitely setting up a scenario. Well, okay, a few things, right? A, the Saviors could find them, and they could have to flee again. They could come across them while they're fleeing, and then be like, we really need you to partner with us. That's one thing. I think another thing is that, so like, okay, so they could partner if they find them on the run. I think another thing is that they're definitely setting up each of the communities, and they're showing that each of these communities has been oppressed by Negan. So, like, how could you really expect, I mean, what, do the women partner with the Saviors or something? I mean, I feel like they're going to play a role.
I mean, that'd be
That's the real
interesting.
question. They're going to play a role.
I can't see them partnering with the Saviors.
Nor can I. But they definitely seem to be at odds with Tara. And Tara was, like, unwilling to share their location. You think she was unwilling to share the location because she knows it would just start too much violence and whatnot?
Yeah.
I mean, she already didn't trust them. Why would she share the location? Because if they are going to take her out, does she want to give the one trump card she has away right now?
True. So, all right. So she goes on the run here with Beatrice and Kathy.
Yep.
And she has to take out this walker, and she does, and then she bolts, right?
Oh,
And
she never even takes him out. She runs. She approaches, and then she just bolts.
Like she's going
She
to.
bolts.
yeah. The walker gets killed from the gunshots.
Yeah.
Right.
From Kathy and Beatrice.
Was there a second for when she goes after Beatrice, like she's behind her, that you thought she was gonna go full on stab in the neck? She was gonna take her out.
I don't know. I think the conversation with Heath earlier was kind of like that alluding to the fact that we don't have to kill everybody scenario, because that's where certain characters in the show are. I'm going to kill everything I have to, and then the other ones are kind of still walking that line. And Heath reminded her that you don't have to kill everybody.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. On the other hand, I definitely think that any of the characters that are part of Rick's group, or it's not Rick's group anymore, but part of the Alexandrian group, they've all been through so much. They've all had to do so much horrible stuff to survive. I kind of think she's had a gun pointed at her repeatedly. I almost think she would have gone for the kill right in that moment. She would have gone for the kill. She would have taken the gun to protect herself. I thought it was a little like I was counterintuitive to me that she went up like that, and I don't know. I found that sort of surprising. What about you? So none of you guys thought that was the deal?
Yeah, I don't know if I really thought that. Yeah, I mean,
she's not the hardcore killer character to me.
Right.
Like, if it was knife to her throat and then holding a gun to somebody else's head, yeah, she would pull the trigger on there. But I can't see her actually being the one. In essence, if she turned it around there, it's almost killing in cold blood. Mm-hmm. And I hate that I couldn't go back and watch the other episode,
right,
at the outpost to see if she actually did kill somebody in cold blood.
I can't remember if she's murdered someone in cold blood, but I know she's killed people.
She's killed people,
right. But it's a different scenario.
But I mean, once you kill Walker or whatever, you can, it's all the same. I feel like after a while.
Same, no.
Yeah,
You don't think so?
No.
Not at all.
Walkers
Congrats,
people.
you're worse than me.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're worse than Rachel, Derrial.
But if I
Am I
kill
still
a Walker,
there?
I can kill anyone at that point.
Derrial, at least Rachel was told to do this. I mean, what?
Man, like,
where is this coming
physically.
from?
Wow.
I'm not the worst person on the show
Interesting.
anymore.
No, I mean, I just feel like it's, I feel like you get to a mental state or you survive. So, you know what? You don't discriminate between. At one point, you don't discriminate. That's what I feel like.
Okay, it's like cyclical storytelling is what. I mean, most TV is like that. You have 42 minutes or 44 minutes, however much. And
Well,
obviously,
this was a little longer tonight too.
Yeah,
it was a little extended.
The conversation with Heath at the beginning of the show is obviously supposed to inform her and set her up with her decisions for later in the episode, which is why she doesn't probably go for the throat there, and she doesn't kill Beatrice, and she tries to. It's that whole that line that a lot of these characters walk. It's the same stuff with Morgan that we've seen before, where it's easy to kill. If you're the person who's willing to kill to save yourself, then you become that person that Heath hates, that he thinks he is now.
Right.
And she's kind of, in some ways, she's trying to prove him wrong by not going for the throat there.
Mm-hmm. And they kept her so lighthearted the whole episode. It would have been so odd for her, because we had no reason to hate Beatrice, really.
Yeah. I honestly almost thought I almost thought that they were going to flip it on its head there, because she had been passive in the sense that she'd been a pacifist. She hadn't gone for the kill, right?
And out of nowhere.
Yeah, I thought maybe that was going to be like sort of the interesting thing. But we talk about this like we talked about it last week with Carle and Enid and the roller skates.
Yep.
Like how funny that would have been, and like weird and interesting.
I would have
Right,
loved
yeah.
it.
Well, most people are on the chat are saying that they wanted Tara to kill someone. They kind of agree with you, Ben. Actually, they feel like her character's a little soft, and she's not really holding up to. They don't think she can really kill the way that the others can kill.
Right.
On the chat.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely shown us in this show.
I think she can,
again.
though. I disagree. I think she could in a circumstance.
I think so too. They have shown us though time and time again in the show that the soft characters die. It's like a thing that they try to prove repeatedly is that in pressure situations when a character is too passive, they die. And then they also show when a character is like too much of a pacifist, they get other people killed or in trouble, which is like Morgan's whole
according to
lesson.
Tasha Tosh, she said Tara was always protected by Abraham and Rosita. So
Yeah,
That's
well,
kind of true, yeah.
she's had to be a fighter though. I mean, she's learned some things. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the conversation she has with Beatrice. So she finds out there in that moment, Beatrice is like, it's hopeless. I can't let you go because if you bring the saviors back to us, we're all going to die. So this brings us back to the same conversation we were having about the role that these women in this community are going to play. So sounds like we're kind of divided on what we think is going to happen. I don't have a strong prediction yet. I do think that the guns will come from there. Those women will play a role. Whether that's in some, because how are they going to get the guns? Without partnering with the women, how do they get the guns?
Well, I mean, you have a few things like, Tara's gun, obviously not the best example because there's the savior gun that she's carrying with her.
Yeah.
Rosita is saying to make bullets for her. They're gonna send scavengers out. For some reason, it seems too much of a Deus Ex Machina to have this be the magic source of guns for me.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Maybe it's that obvious. They're trying to set us up and then show,
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's some sort of mislead on it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this show's pretty smart. That definitely outsmarts us often when we think we know what's going on. Sure. But in any case, she gets away. She is saved by Cindy. Cindy, who seems to have some like penchant for Tara. Tara. This is one of the situations. Yeah, it's Tara, right?
Tara.
Yeah, Tara. And she seems to be invested in saving her, and she's a good shot. So you have to think again. The fact that she's a good shot will come into play eventually. That'll be a thing that we see, right? That's another reason you have to think that they will partner with them, is because her being a good sharpshooter is probably a relevant detail later in a fight.
She's also the person that won't kill another person.
Yeah.
True. And
Yeah.
do we see anything between them? The two of them? No.
She's too.
Nah.
I was honestly like 50-50 on it. I was like, I don't think so, but by the end of the episode, I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
You didn't give me any real strong reason not to think so.
Right. I wasn't sure if they were trying to set that up or.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I agree with Aaron Brody. He said all these groups are going to clash at the end of the episodes and join each other.
That's what I'm waiting for.
I'm agreeing with you, Aaron.
Well, because so right now we've got Hilltop, we've got Kingdom, we've got
Alexandria.
So many groups.
Alexandria,
Yeah.
we have Oceanside,
And then we have the Saviors.
and we have Saviors. So, and they're
And
all...
you have Carol in her own individual house.
Yeah, but she's
Right,
basically part of it.
right, exactly.
Carol House.
She doesn't
But
count.
she is the Terminator, so like she is kind
She
of
is the
her own-
Terminator. You're right. She is the Terminator.
It's literally.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Carol. So if that's the case, then you have to wonder, because geographically they're all relatively close to each other.
Yeah.
Like they're all like pretty close.
You're all within a day's drive of each other.
So I think this probably brings us to the next point of the show, which is predictions. Let's get into our standard predictions, not our spoilery predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So the way we do this, guys, is we're all going to sound off with one prediction, and then we are going to give our sign-off. And then at the end of us each doing that, we're going to go into a little comic booky discussion that references spoilers. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. This episode wasn't full of it. We'll talk about it in a second. I'm going to start over on the couch. Do you want to join us? Do you have any predictions about what's going to happen in the show?
Wait, keep
Keep the headset up.
Yeah. If you want to think about it, I can come back to it.
We'll come
Yeah.
back to you. Yeah, it's too much pressure.
Yeah, no worries. Derrial, start with you.
Wow.
Too much pressure.
A lot of pressure. Here's the thing. I'm going back to my prediction from last week. Enid is going to bite it. So
Enid?
yeah,
Enid.
Excuse me. Enid is going to bite it. I think this was like I really do feel like this is kind of a throwaway episode.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, to kind of remind us where Tara was and where she is with the group. But I don't know. Like I still go back to the previous week. It's still back to Enid. It's like she's not going to be around too much longer.
This episode, this reminded you and made you feel.
Yeah,
even
it
more
made me
uneasy.
like I was like, why are we doing this right now? Like, let's go back to what I said
Sure.
like a week ago.
Considering
So-
that's something that I want to have happen, it's not going to.
D, where can the folks find you if they want to follow along with your thoughts?
Oh
and
wow,
tweet at you?
okay. At Derrial Christon, DerrialChriston, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you guys. Actually, I've had a lot of correspondence back and forth.
Yeah.
Actually, with you too, Ben, with a lot of fans that had a lot of questions and great questions. So keep those coming because I love to respond to those. So.
Yeah, definitely. Susannah?
I'm gonna stick with. I mean, as far as this episode goes, I'm gonna stick with what I said with Oceanside, maybe reaching out for help, or maybe Cindy going out her way to find Tara. Or
Yeah.
I definitely see some sort of connection there with the bracelet and that going on. So I would like to see all the worlds collide, like they're saying. I would love to see Oceanside meet Hilltop, and them come together to take out the saviors. But
Where can the folks find you?
they can find me at Susannah_Kim.
That's an interesting point you bring up, though, about Cindy going out, because she is kind of rebellious.
That's a
She
good-
doesn't seem to
that's
like
a
her
good point.
group.
Yeah.
That maybe the saviors find them and are imposing their will even worse or more, and she wants to go find the Alexandrians to help them or something.
And now she knows that there's another
She
community
knows
out
that,
there that's
yeah.
doing well, or not.
Yeah.
I mean, enough for
Something.
Tara to be pretty proud of it. At that point.
John?
I don't know. I really. This is
It's like a weird episode.
this is a hard
Right,
one.
yeah.
It's hard. Yeah.
Because I feel like this was more of a status quo episode rather than a game changer episode, I guess is the way I would word it. So I don't really have any new predictions off of this week, as weak as that probably sounds.
Where can the folks find you if they have a thought they want to share
They
with
can
you?
yell at me at the John Carle, TheJohnCarle, on Twitter and Instagram, and like I said, Whiskey and Waffles on YouTube. We don't really do anything Walking Dead on there though.
Maybe you should
Oh, you
start.
should.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
do.
we should.
I do
There
The
you
Walking Dead here. I don't want to spread it when I already have no predictions.
Lex, did you want to share a thought?
I would think that Tara will probably run into the PP thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Where she can use the card, you mean?
yeah, like she could probably run into that, and she'll probably try to find out what that is. And I don't really think if she. Well, I have a feeling she'll go back for Heath, of course, and try to find him.
Yeah.
But
Do we think the PPP is something to do with the saviors and actually being
I
like
think
from
it
the
is.
main
Yeah.
stronghold?
And on the chat, that's what they think it is actually. So I agree with the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. That's strong. And one more time, if the folks want to follow along with you, where can they find you on Instagram?
on Instagram, Mr. Donut6.
Mr. Donut 6, you heard it here.
It wasn't 9, it was 6.
Okay. Guys, you can find me at Ben Bateman Media on Twitter and Instagram. I think my only prediction on this episode is that I like what you had to say, Susannah. I do think that's probably the common thread there, is that I think you do see Cindy go out to try to find them. Whether that means that Cindy makes it all the way or Cindy gets captured by the saviors and then ends up playing a part and they have to save her or something. I think there will be something like that happens that feels pretty legit. And I also think that Heath is going to bite it in the mid-season finale. I think that's the death.
Really? You think that's a setup for everything that's happening right now?
Well, yeah, I think for like a couple reasons. I mean, obviously, we've seen it happen. People can do 2 shows, so the fact that he's on that show doesn't mean he can't do The Walking
You're
Dead.
tired of his dreads. That's what that means.
It's such a high-profile show too, as a side character, that like. It's like would be foolish of him to be like, hey guys, actually I have this other show, so if you could just get rid of me because I don't want to do Walking Dead anymore,
Right.
like that doesn't make any sense.
Right,
You
yeah.
get the exposure's crazy.
Yeah.
But I kind of think that it's an easy setup for them to.
He's also never been that important of a character either.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna
I
definitely.
agree.
As we start to see like this like war sort of build. So that's what I think, guys. If you want to share your thoughts one more time, at Ben Bateman Media, Twitter and Instagram, and if you share your thoughts and comments on YouTube, we will respond, as well as Twitter. Can we get a quick spoiler alert?
Nope.
There you go.
Spoiler
Dead
alert!
on.
Spoiler
Ah,
alert!
perfect pitch. No, I don't.
alert.
Actually.
You usually give them a little more
Spoiler
lead in
alert.
rather than just jumping to it.
So, guys, what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about things that we know from the comics. We're going to talk about things that we know happened that maybe you don't know, and we're going to spoil it for these guys. And if you don't want to hear, sign off, turn off your iPod. I say that every week. Your iPhone. Turn off your podcast app. Pause YouTube because we're going to talk about things that happen. So this is not right. I'm not wrong in thinking.
No, I literally got nothing for this segment. I was like, we don't even really need
the women. That's brand new. That's not part of the comic book.
That's nothing.
Yeah, and Heath is in the comic. Tara's not in the comic, right?
Nope.
No.
Oh, interesting.
No.
Yeah, so that's all new. Yeah, this is like
You caught up on the comic, Dave?
I'm close.
Okay.
I just don't want to say it because you guys are further than me, but
Yeah.
I've been reading it all summer, the fall, so now I'm close.
One thing I think is really interesting, John, is that you mentioned that this felt like a reset to you.
Yep.
And I do agree that this season has felt a little bit like the first half of it. They're going to be resetting the status quo, so that we can set up for the obvious like huge blowout that's going to happen with Negan because they can't stay under his thumb forever. However, if they stick with the comic book chronology, like we mentioned last week, there is the time jump that happens after the war.
And that's what I think doesn't happen. I think this is the reset point, and after the war, there is not a reset point.
Okay, see, that to me would be a bummer, because the time jump's one of the coolest things that's ever happened in the comic. It's such an awesome, like, there's so many cool things, like the checkpoints on the road and Rick with the cane and being like essentially the king. I don't know, that's just...
How much of a jump is that?
It's like 2 years, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 years.
Oh, maybe it's not.
okay,
Maybe it's like
2
6
years.
months.
6 months.
Oh,
Is
okay,
it?
that's
6
not
months.
huge.
Okay, well, I thought it was... It
Yeah.
feels like a long time.
But for 6 months of normalcy, it feels like a pretty big change has happened.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that they could go into what the next conflict is after, without having to do a time jump.
Whisperers, maybe. That seems like the obvious one. All right, guys, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I don't really have much else to say about this episode. Just in case you guys were listening on the episode and you were wondering, we've said it before, I think, in the post-spoilers, but it's Abraham that takes the arrow through the eye in Denise's place. So that's what happens.
There you go.
But thanks, guys, for tuning in. We will see you next week. We have 2 episodes left in the mid-season.
That's it?
Before the mid-season finale. Yep. So something big. Just a couple. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week. I hope you had a awesome Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining
You're just
us,
gonna
Lex.
keep going.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.